children learn where they're loved. Children blossom where they feel comfortable. So if they're not comfortable, they're not going to develop. They're just going to, unfortunately, shrink back inside of themselves.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Raising Smart Kids. Today we're here with Suzy Sancho. Susan is a mother of two. She's an entrepreneur. She is the original founder of Ivy Elephant. Anyone who has young kids knows Ivy Elephant, right? So we have a legend in here. And she's also the founder of Edugarden, Early Learning Adventure Care Center. We have her here today to discuss teaching preschoolers in the age of COVID-19. Welcome, Susan.
Hello.
Yes, so thank you so much for joining us today, right? So let's get right into it. Can you tell us about Edugarden, like, so why you started it, and what are some of the founding principles of Edugarden?
So the reason Edugarden started was I came to Trinidad with my husband, had a baby. Obviously, I have no family here apart from my wonderful in-laws, and decided to start my own preschool. After having a bad experience at a preschool here, I realized I could do a much better job.
Awesome.
So I started my own preschool. It is now 6 years ago. He has been gone and is now at primary school. My daughter came. She has also been gone and started primary school. So now, instead of having my children with me, I get to actually enjoy being with other people's children. So it's great. Nice. So the idea of Edugarden is really being a home away from home.
I love that.
The communication is something that we find key when it comes to preschools. A lot of the times the parents do not know, do not understand, do not feel they can reach out to anyone. So we have lots of methods that we have implemented to ensure that our parents are being well communicated with. That includes our center manager. So there's always me. I'm there. I'm always available. Except for 10 o'clock at night, if we could halt those calls, that would be great. But we have a center manager who deals with, basically her job is to be on the phone, answer anybody's queries, take pictures of all those funny looking poops, take everyone's temperatures, and ensure that everybody is answered in a timely manner. So her job basically is to talk to parents. So that is one of the things that I found extremely important, especially as these children are so young. You want to know everything. Unfortunately, a lot of parents, especially in Trinidad and Tobago, where your maternity leave is only 3 months, you're leaving a tiny baby in the care of people that you hope are looking after it. So we try and make sure that pictures are sent at every milestone. We have a private Facebook group which we update every day, where you'll see all the activities they've been doing. We have the parent chat group where sometimes it's full of jokes, but most of the time it's to do with school. And then we have Auntie Jolene, who takes pictures of every class every day, making sure parents have their updates.
That is awesome. It reminds me of my own personal search for, a preschool. And I remember walking into this one preschool and it looked like the kids were in jail, so they were just, in these beds or cots or whatever, and, with the bars and everything. And it was like they were just going to stay there all day. What I got from you really was attention, that you all make sure to pay attention to the kids. That's so important. And that's what parents want. Another thing that struck me was that you thought 3 months was a short time. I thought 3 months was great, I thought we were lucky here. I thought I was good.
I didn't go to work when I had my babies. well, I went to England to have them and I came back here and I had Edugarden. So I was literally in class. I didn't teach, but I was helping and I was here in school. Um, and then at 6 months is when I took over the babies, so the infant class. And there was 2 other babies with me. And now these babies are still my daughter's best friends. So for every birthday, every Christmas, everything, we're always all together.
Right.
So
Lovely.
I am still Auntie Suzy to my baby.
That's awesome. That's great, that bond that you're able to have. And it shows that, what you've created there is, a really great family environment. And that's what people want to know. And, you mentioned, home away from home. I haven't really heard that, in terms of a home away from home. But I'm just saying that attention, things like checking the temperature, which you realize now in the future is going to be more and more important, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be, kind of like mandatory now. And it just shows, that those schools and companies that were really thinking ahead, or just thinking and taking care, are the ones that are really going to be prepared for what's to come in the future. And so that's a great segue to ask, how has COVID affected your school, and what challenges did you face? And yeah.
So well, another thing to add to the whole home away from home or that kind of scenario, children learn where they're loved. Children blossom where they feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. So if they're not comfortable, they're not going to develop. They're just going to, unfortunately, shrink back inside of themselves. So that's
an awesome quote there. I'm going to put that down, from Suzy Sancho. That's awesome. Children learn where they are loved. Brilliant.
Yeah. And so one of the big things as well that I have always stuck by and never take for granted is how amazing my team are. So each and every auntie is extremely hands-on. We will always have days where one person sings louder than the other, and there's different strengths for everybody.
Right.
But they have, so the majority of my staff have actually been with me from inception. So I have Auntie Kirby, Auntie Jolene, Auntie Myrtle, who have all been with me for 6 years, which is extremely rare to find in any preschool in Trinidad and Tobago. Right. The turnover of aunties and new faces is usually the one consistent thing in most preschools. Right. So the staff is something, no one has been with us less than 3 years now. Some of them started as camp leaders, so they would come in for camp every summer while they were at school or university, and ended up just sticking around. So with COVID-19, I find this age group, everyone's like, oh, why do preschoolers need online learning? That's ridiculous. Luckily, none of my parents said that.
Right.
But actually, I think it's not necessarily about the learning path, which of course is also very important. But it's also about seeing someone you love. So every day, these children would come to school, and if they're not with us from 8 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, some of them are with us from 7 o'clock in the morning till 5 in the evening.
Right.
So that is more time they spend with us than they do at home. So we know every detail about these children, and they know us. So for one thing in their entire life has just changed during COVID. Everything in their life. Mommy and daddy are home every day. I can't go out to play. Why not keep something consistent? I understand you could teach them how to spell their name. You could stand there in front of the alphabet chart and say ABC. I totally get it. Not that that's the curriculum in its whole, but I get it. You can teach your child, or you think you can teach your child. But the point is, these are people that have grown to love your child and that your child has grown to love. And if there has to be one consistency in life, they can't see grandma, they can't see grandpa, why not let them come and do circle time every morning with their favorite aunties and have half an hour just talking and seeing and singing and playing with someone they've grown very attached to. It's not all about, let me pick up this copybook and write my name 12 times in it or anything like that. It's more about seeing the people they love. And also, add in a not so very popular opinion, our staff deserve to be compensated for all the hard work that they put in, not just now, but over the last 6 years. You want me to not pay my staff because I physically couldn't afford to for the next 3-4 months when they've literally wiped your child's bottom for the last 2 years?
True.
No, I think they deserve to be compensated, and I don't believe they deserve to be hung out to dry for the next 3 months or 5 months or however long this continues.
I agree. That's a valid reason. I agree. But I love that that you said, it's not just about the, mental education, it's not just about that. It's not just about feeding the mind, but, to paraphrase, it's about feeding the heart as well, because they are going to miss you, and I told, I had a workshop, a free workshop. It was sponsored by Chuck E. Cheese. It was called Teaching Online. And in it, it was to encourage teachers to teach online and give them the skills that they needed to do that during this period. And one of the things that I told them was that your kids want to see you, your students want to see you, because some of them were apprehensive about turning on their webcam. Some of them, it's just like, oh, I don't know if I want to invite people into my home, so I had to just tell them, hey, I mean, you're not seeing my entire home here, you know what I mean? This is just this one couch, this is this one wall, just to get them accustomed to that. But, don't forget the why you're doing this. The students want to see you. So turning on that camera is so important,
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you mentioned that. And I never thought about that in terms of the consistency for them with all that's going on. This is a traumatic time. So
and I think mentally we won't see the repercussions of this in our children for a while. I think now it's started to get to my children mentally.
Wow.
After 6 weeks, I think they're now starting to lose their minds.
Right.
But also, I mean, the good thing that I found about my children doing online learning is routine. Children need routine. And it's not easy as a parent to keep a routine, because you are working as well. You're doing your work. You're sat at your computer. It's not easy to keep that routine. So for my kids, they know they wake up. They know they do whatever they want, which does not include your computer, for an hour or what time ever you wake up. But by 8:30, you need to go brush your teeth, wash your face, brush your hair, and get ready, get clean clothes on. Not always great, preferably some shorts, not just your jockeys, and go and get ready for class. Now, if every morning these toddlers, so every single morning at 9:30, we have circle time. And it's just singing, dancing. We'll have a letter of the week, a shape of the week, a number. And so we have different things where they'll bring something beginning with the letter F. And they feel so accomplished when they get to come and show their fish or their fire truck. And you forget that kind of interaction is so imperative for them. So the routine of knowing, right, at 9:30 you have circle time, and at 10:15 you have a little class with your teacher.
Right.
Even if it's just for the morning time. And then in the afternoons, we send a video, which we have like literacy Mondays, numeracy Tuesdays, social studies on Wednesday, and science on Thursday. So they'll just watch the video in the afternoon and learn about a different topic. But the routine of it is what is important. We know it takes a lot out of parents, because I'm doing it with you guys, but it's so important for them to be in a routine.
Yeah. So Oh, there's so much to unpack there, right? So let me get to it. All right. So I just want to make sure so I remember to touch on that after. So you spoke about, the letter of the day, the number of the day. That reminded me so much of, Sesame Street. Sesame Street was brought to you by the number or whatever,
Just brought to you by Auntie Jolene.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's so cool. So, as you mentioned, Auntie Jolene, before I get into this, whenever I speak to you, Suzy, you always bring up your staff. You always bring them up. You always big them up, and you treasure them so much. So, I wanted to highlight that. That is, that it wouldn't have been, a conversation with Suzy where she did not say how amazing her staff was, So, and
I think
kudos to you for that, for recognizing that.
Every preschool owner should, because when you're not there, who do you think is holding the fort?
Right.
So to me, they aren't bringing their children to Edugarden because of Suzy. They're bringing their children to Edugarden because of their amazing teacher or
Right.
Auntie Jolene. So there's so many. We as preschool owners are not the reason the preschool runs. Yeah, okay, we have to do the accounts and the wages and all the little in-betweeny bits, but the most important part is the staff. So yeah.
Because I almost had to convince you that, no, I want to talk to you. You're like, oh no, but okay, you can, talk to my teacher. No, Suzy, I want to talk to you. So back to so like science Mondays, I might have it all wrong, and math I don't know, whatever, right? So what you just said, right? So different days. So the letter of the day, the different subjects per day, as well as that I saw on your Facebook page, the competition that you had, some kind of creative competition. Were those things there before COVID, or are those things new, tailored for COVID?
So obviously the way we deliver the lesson is brand new. So we always have circle time every morning. So that's the same, but now it's done on Zoom, and we mute everyone's mics, sing for 20 minutes, and then unmute them for the madness.
Right.
So that stayed the same. So we do normally, the staff, the syllabuses, we have a syllabus, and the staff deliver it for ease of deliverance. They will normally do like numeracy on one day, literacy on another, science, social studies, and art. But because it's such shorter times, normally in class, they might do literacy, but everybody's finished, so we'll throw in some numeracy or we'll do a little social studies. So it's not always so kind of in a box. Also, if one child's ahead, we'll move on with another activity for that child while we sit. We have a lot of staff on board, which I think I've noticed more during COVID than I noticed when we're actually in school. So there's always a teacher. We have 3 staff that don't actually have classrooms. So they are the support staff, I guess.
Teachers,
Yeah, which is like me, Jolene, Auntie Petal. We don't have classrooms. So if a teacher needs us to sit with one child, they're struggling with how to form their letter A or whatever, we can sit with them while the teacher continues or sits with another child who's going a little bit ahead or whatever. So that's what's changed with the deliverance. It's now kind of one day for one thing. The classes for junior and senior preschool are only 30 minutes. If a child's struggling, I have seen Auntie Kirby and Auntie Shanique stay on after class, just with that one child, just to make sure they understand the concept. But it is just a 30-minute class every day. For the younger children, what we decided, so we have 1-year-olds and 2-year-olds who are also doing online learning.
Wow.
Yeah. So what we do with them is they do 15 minutes, 3 days a week. So they just do 15 minutes. We have packages. So I'm trying to see if I have one close. Joe, just send me one of them. So we have little packages, and inside the packages, no, a root or a key, a root or a spell. So the packages will include stuff they can do with their aunties. A lot of it is Play-Doh mats. So this is kind of thing that we have this month. So they have a lacing activities.
Right.
And then...
Oh, that is awesome. Yeah, because the motor skills are so important now. And you're not neglecting that during COVID. I love it. Okay.
So they have sticking activities, little things that they can do with their teacher during the class. And then you might do story time. Play-Doh was a huge hit. So we laminated Play-Doh mats, and we had to do the letter A, the letter B with their Play-Doh, and we put Play-Doh in their packs. So everything the parent needs for the class goes in their packs. So we are now trying to do the month of June and get it all finished.
Oh, okay. You told me you were preparing packages, but I didn't understand what they were for, you know? Okay, awesome. So they actually have packets that they need to have at the beginning of the month that has everything they need. Awesome.
Yeah, so you'll have, in the older children, you'll have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, week 1.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be a worksheet, it might be a craft, it might be anything, a science experiment, but everything the parent needs is in that package.
Right.
So you don't have to go out and buy or print or do anything. We've done all the printing for you.
Yeah, okay.
So
that is, yeah, you know, so what I'm getting, you know, the word I think of is preparation. I think that, you know, during this COVID period, remote learning in general requires way more preparation than does, you know, the face-to-face. You know, you have to have everything kind of planned out before clearly, you know, based on what you're saying. And in particular with the young ones, because in the teaching online workshop that I did, which is why I contacted you, was because, you know, I started to get questions from teachers who were teaching, let's say, first year and preschool. And they were asking, but how? You know what I mean? Because I tell them, okay, this is what you need to do. Here's how you manage on Google Classroom or Edmodo or whatever. And they were just like, but how with a 5-year-old? But how with a 4-year-old? But how? And I was like, I'm not sure. You know what I mean? I'm not sure.
They adapt. They're children. They adapt. And like I said before, your staff are so important, because when that child sees, I have a 1-year-old, not me.
Yeah.
But we have 1-year-olds who are doing these classes, and honestly, they cry at the end of the class because
it's over. Yeah.
Because it's over and they don't get to see Auntie Tia again, and they've had so much fun just looking at her and interacting with her with the Play-Doh. And of course, mommy and daddy are there, mommy or daddy are there, and guiding them through the whole thing. But they don't want to see mommy and daddy. I don't want to see mommy and daddy. I'm just like, we've seen mommy and daddy 24 hours for the last 7 weeks. I want to see auntie. So a lot of it, you know, and this is a 1-year-old who was literally at school for 3 months before COVID hit. In fact, 3 months before COVID hit. So it's not even like she's been with us since she was 2 months old. It's literally been 3 months, and she became so attached, and she's really interacting, really loving the classes. And that goes with the majority of the children. They adapt. You can ask why, but until you jump in and actually do it, you will see. It takes a lot from your parents, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
They have to sit, but it's 30 minutes of your day.
Yeah, the parents, you know, we'll get to them just now. We'll get to the parents just now. But with the younger kids, you know, what I'm glad to learn from you in terms of how to do remote learning with younger kids. You know, the fine motor skills, that's something that you all need to work on, you all need to focus on, and you all have jumped over that hurdle by preparing these packages. That is brilliant. It might seem like, I mean, maybe to you all it was obvious or whatever, or you know, maybe that, I don't know, from inception, if you all had a meeting, if you all would, but at the end of the day, that's brilliant. And maybe we might have some people who have a preschool and have no clue how to start, and you know, this information might be helping them, because at the end of the day, it's so easy for some people. It seems intimidating, you know, it's intimidating. But when teachers know that, hey, other teachers are doing it, you know, it gives them the confidence to say, maybe I can get this done, you know.
And just remember, they're the
so
same children that are in your classroom. They're the same babies that you teach every day in your classroom. And like you say, the gratification comes from them just needing to see your face.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter what you're teaching them. Once you're animated, you know what sparks them children. Great English.
You're tuning now, Suzy.
You know what sparks their interest. You've been with them. You've been in a classroom. You've been through their bad moods. You've been through their tantrums. You've been through their highs, their lows, and everything in between. So you as a teacher know how to spark their interest. We have a little guy who's obsessed with dinosaurs. And at first, we just couldn't get his attention. You know, the iPad is used for playing my games and watching my YouTube while I come here to work.
Right.
But play a dinosaur roar at the beginning of class. Like, and that's it. You've got my attention. Great. Now what we're going to do.
That is
and
great.
So those are things that you have to, you know your children, so just use that to your advantage.
Yeah, so for those teachers, you know, teachers who are teaching young kids, whether it's first year, second year, or preschool, you know, these are great tips. You have to be animated, and I'm glad you mentioned that word, animated. When I think of my son's preschool, same preschool, but first year teachers, they are amazing. And one thing about them, they are animated. Listen, they are so much fun. You know, there's a time my daughter and I happened to be kind of eavesdropping on the class. We were cracking up, you know, because she was there making jokes. She had, you know, little puppet or figurines of Geraldine the giraffe or whatever. You know, every day was something new, and sometimes she'll have these sounds, and you know, just different things, just to, you know, spark the kids. So that's one thing, being animated. It's so important. You know, and you know, finding ways to keep their attention, grab their attention, and then the time frame, right? Like, I'm hearing you saying 15 minutes for 1 and 2 year olds. I'm hearing you saying half an hour for those that are older. And I mentioned to you that my son's class is 2 hours long. Now it's 2 hours, but it's not. It's broken up, right? It's broken up into these three slots, right? And so there are 2 breaks in between. But that last half hour for him, or last 20 minutes or whatever, for him, some kids, I noticed some kids, they can do it, you know what I mean? But for him, he's like, you know, he'll be up on the chair, he'll be walking around, you know. His sister would say, hey, Ethan, class has started back, you know. He's off. You know, so for him, it's a bit too much. But for some of them, it works. But the point is that, you know, the younger they are, the less time that they need. And you even said 15 to 30 minutes, 3 times a week, not even every day, right?
No. So they have circle time every day, but
circle time is every day.
Yeah, but the class time is 15 minutes, and you, in order to kind of bring their attention back to you, because of course they're going to get bored. They're at home, and children are worse behaved with their parents than they are with anybody else on earth, especially if you're the poor mother behind it, because usually we get the brunt of those high emotions. But we will tell them, okay, run away and grab something blue. And then they get to run away and get something blue and bring it back. And then you're like, oh my gosh, you've got something blue. And, you know, the whole, but at least they're not sat in front of you the whole time. They're finding something blue, or they're finding something. A lot of them have the little alphabet mats and point to the letter A, let me see it. And, you know, things like that. Ask them how the weather is. Little things like that. It means they're not sat in front of you going the whole time.
Yeah.
Go, shoo. I mean, even in my son's class, every now and then he comes and hugs me, and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, sir told me to run away and give you a hug and come back.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, so great, thanks, sir. But it's this is
And how
my
old is he?
45
How old
minutes
is
without
he?
him. He's 9.
Right.
So, but I mean, boys aren't meant to sit. It's just not.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just not meant to. So let them run, but just be a part of it. And to be honest, like I say, it's about seeing your face. So when they do come back to school, whenever that may be, there is no wild tantrums at the door.
Yeah.
Because they've seen you. They've like 5 months. If it is September, 5 months is a really long time in a child's world.
Yeah.
So when they come back, they'll be like, what happened? So it's good to keep in touch. Make sure they know your face.